Kinyanjui and welcome to the channel. Today's video is about Nairobi National Park, which is the only animal park in the world that is located within a capital city. What's so special about this place is you get to experience an African safari all in one place. You get to experience being up close to predators like lions, leopards, cheetahs, and hyenas. You also get to see other wildlife like hippos, rhinos, and a multitude of other animals. Right off the bat, when we entered the game drive, we encountered a giraffe on the road. Every time I saw a giraffe, I remember thinking they have such a beautiful coat. I also saw a leopard, and those two animals are honestly so beautiful. Moment, we thought this giraffe wanted to attack us, but it turns out that it was just spooked by cars coming from the other side. When you spot one animal, especially those that are known to travel in large groups, there is a good chance that there will be more in the area but hidden within the vegetation. That was the case for this giraffe. We could see a few others pop in and out of vision, but unfortunately the camera couldn't capture those moments as they were a bit far. It would probably be a good idea and also make for a better experience if you bring a pair of binoculars if you plan to visit. The park is sectioned into 3 unique experiences. The first in this video is the Safari Game Drive, where you drive into the natural habitat of wildlife and get to see a variety of species. The second is the Animal Orphanage, where there are lots of animals that were either rescued or born and raised in captivity. Then the last is the Safari Walk, where wild animals are in bigger encasements compared to those in the Animal Orphanage. All 3 places have separate entrances where you have to pay a fee at each entrance. Before being allowed inside, it's also mandatory that you present your ID, so that's something to keep in mind if you do visit. Driving through the game drive, you should consider the kind of car to use because it's a large area with a bit of rough terrain and sections with water like this. The last thing you want is to get stuck in a place where large predators like lions, leopards, and cheetahs roam freely. But the good thing is there's network in this area. I used my phone a couple of times and it worked. The place is also filled with signposts that you encounter after every few kilometers. This was very helpful because sometimes the roads just seem to go on, and honestly I felt like you can easily get lost. At this section of the drive, we spotted a couple of antelopes from a distance and also buffaloes. To my dismay, this wasn't solely an experience of seeing wildlife. It was also an experience of discovering the limitations of my camera lens, but I shouldn't have been expecting much from a 50mm lens. On this day, we spotted a lot of animals. I have a feeling it's because this is the cold and rainy season in Kenya. I've been here before during the hot season and there were no animals in sight, except for monkeys. Now that I think about it, it can get pretty hot during the day, so I guess when the sun is at its peak, even the animals seek shelter. On this day, although it looks sunny, it had been raining in the morning and the sun had just come out, so the weather was cool. This is another giraffe we spotted when we went further into the game drive. Out of all the animals we saw, it seems giraffes are the most comfortable going close to the road. Driving up to this giraffe, it kept looking at us cautiously, but after a while I think it realized we were harmless and continued eating. is the animal orphanage, and the first animal we saw was this hyena. I would say the best time to visit the orphanage is during the feeding time of the animals. On this day, it was around 1 o'clock. It was very interesting to see how the different animals react during feeding time. First of all, I had no idea hyenas make other sounds other than the laughing sounds often played on TV. But during feeding time, this particular hyena usually makes some type of noise that I found to be a little bit disturbing or maybe scary. Anyway, the hyena is called Coco, and according to the animal attendant, Coco was rescued after falling into a pit latrine. What made the feeding time the best time to visit is that it's really interesting to see how they feed the animals. There are some animals where the attendants were very careful with everything they were doing, and they had methods of feeding the animals in a way that they didn't have to enter the cage. But for others, they could freely enter the cage despite the animal being carnivorous. The whole thing was a sight to see. Plus, the animals get very noisy when they see food, and it made the whole experience very interesting and fun to watch. This type of hyena is called a spotted hyena. They can be very dangerous, so during feeding time the attendants don't enter inside the cage. But right next there are different types of hyenas that are less aggressive. The attendants even entered their cage to give them food. This is the second type of hyena. It is known as the striped hyena, and it seems to be very fearful. There are two of them in this cage, and both of them run and hide when anyone enters their cage. Buffalo. Nothing much to say here except they have a tendency to suddenly charge at things, so they are enclosed in this electric fence to prevent them from injuring anyone. The cheetahs here also seem to be one of the predators that are not that aggressive. As you can see, it's okay for the attendants to enter their cage. I remember coming here as a kid, and back then visitors were allowed to enter their cage and take pictures, but only during the feeding time while they were distracted. Right now, I don't think they allow that anymore. However, the people here are committed to making sure you have the best experience you can. In this situation, the attendant was even open to filming the cheetahs inside the cage for anyone who wanted that footage. The feeding time for the lions was the most intense. There was an air of caution, and you could tell everything was being done very carefully. They have a number of encasements with different prides of lions, so it was exciting to see the feeding process of lions multiple times. One fun thing is monkeys roam freely, so you encounter lots of them. Since they are monkeys, they aren't really dangerous, just playful, but it's prohibited to carry food or snacks because they are still wild animals and will get aggressive trying to take the food from you. These lions have been born and raised in captivity, but that does nothing to tame them. They're still very dangerous, so no one gets inside their cage. I noticed that these lions in a different cage weren't given any food, and it turns out that it's because once they eat, they usually refuse to enter inside their shelters, which are those small green constructions inside the cages. Turns out at night the animals usually have to go inside their shelters and they are locked in there. That's because sometimes the other animals that roam freely in the game drive coming to the orphanage, and they can attack the animals that have been raised in captivity. So for these particular lions, because they are stubborn, their food is put inside the shelters late in the evening so that once they enter, they're locked inside there for the night. The other predator in the animal orphanage is this leopard named Talik. Talik is 17 years old. He was rescued from Masai Mara in 2002. When you go to the safari walk, there is also another leopard there, but because it's in a larger space, it usually climbs and stays on the trees, which makes it really hard to spot. But here you get an up-close look.
A new place, a new home. For a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by. Life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I find my way. It all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way, I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.